The Nationals did get dominated in Dylan Cruz's debut, and it also was kind of an underwhelming debut for Dylan Cruz, but there is a takeaway of it, and Davey Martinez, thank you.
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, you can check us out over on YouTube. Just search Locked On Nationals. And of course, wherever you get your podcasts as well, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, and whatever else, you can look up Locked On Nationals, hit that subscriber button for us. And even as well, over on YouTube, drop a comment in the comment section. You can also follow me at Twitter at RyanClary11, and as well as the show page at LO_Nationals. And later on in today's show, we'll be discussing Patrick Corbin going up against Gerrit Cole. And oh my God, duck, because I can tell you this, that Aaron Judge home run that is going to be hit tonight against Patrick Corbin might land. It might just go right over your head as we speak today. So it's a time-traveling baseball when you're going up against Aaron Judge and Patrick Corbin is on the bump. Oh my God. We'll discuss that a little bit later on. So, second segment, our takeaways from the Nationals-Yankees series. There are some takeaways. And even then, kind of getting behind the scenes of Dylan Cruz, I saw some things that I really like from the Nationals, as well as some of their older players, some of their newer players as well. So we're going to kind of discuss that later on as well. But we start off discussing Dylan Cruz in his debut. And ultimately, it was pretty underwhelming, but there was a good thing from yesterday's game. Before we get into it, now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. So we get started with discussing the Nationals' number one prospect, the number 3 prospect in all of baseball, Dylan Cruz, making his Major League Baseball debut yesterday against the New York Yankees. And first and foremost, it was a good day. Now, I will say this, though. It was an underwhelming debut. It just was. And with an underwhelming debut, I think that came with an overwhelmed Dylan Cruz. Dylan Cruz is a major leaguer. Dylan Cruz will be an all-star someday. But I also think this is going to take a little bit of time to cook. It's not that I don't think Dylan Cruz is ready for it right now, but I think going against certain opponents, and if you're kind of talking about the New York Yankees, which, by the way, the New York Yankees had, I hate to say it, this is not a knock on Nationals fans, this is just the way the Yankees are, 60% of the house yesterday at Nats Park was Yankees fans. If you were there, let me know. But that's kind of what I thought. I just think the moment overall, though, was pretty underwhelming. Dylan Cruz did draw a walk. But other than that, he went over. But there was one good thing. The way that Davey Martinez constructed that lineup. Finally. You've seen it in years past. Whether it's C.J. Abrams batting ninth for nearly a whole year. Why was he ever batting ninth? He was not your ninth best hitter. He was not one of your worst hitters on your team. He should have been at the leadoff spot. Whether it's having James Wood bat sixth, behind Ildemaro Vargas and Juan Yepez and players like that. But Davey Martinez did the right thing. You got to see kind of what the future could taste like. Now, even then, the results weren't great, as C.J. Abrams went over, James Wood didn't have an impact, and Dylan Cruz didn't have an impact as well. But you saw what the future holds. C.J. Abrams at the leadoff spot, Dylan Cruz your 2-hitter, and James Wood is your 3-hitter. That is going to be a special 1-2-3 combo for years to come right here in D.C. that you will get to watch 162 games out of the year starting next season. And then beyond that, you'll have Brady House in the lineup. You got to see the future yesterday. I think that is an exciting part of this rebuild. And that was an exciting part of Dylan Cruz's debut. because this is going to take some time. It's going to take a lot of processing in order to get Dylan Crews ready to be up in the bigs every single day. Because we do kind of forget that part. CJ Abrams, it took nearly a year for him to click. James Wood, he came up right away and he has been great. But I think Dylan Crews will probably find that even middle stretch there. I don't think he's going to take as long as CJ Abrams to really develop up in the bigs, but I also don't think he's going to click right away the way that James Wood has. Now, I could be wrong here, because overall, I do think Dylan Crews, right now sitting here today, is probably your second best hitter behind James Wood. Even better than CJ Abrams. But with that said, though, you can't just go into this season for the rest of 2024 for the next month and think Dylan Crews is going to have like an 850 OPS. That hasn't been the case in AA or in AAA this season. I'm not going to expect that for him up in the majors. The goal for Dylan Crews is to get acclimated playing every single day here. Being in the lineup, batting second, nailing down your routine. I think yesterday was probably the perfect time to call him up, by the way. It made sense. And also, with Juan Soto in town, you all know the drill. Recruiting Juan Soto to free agency. We'll get into some more takeaways from this Yankees-Nats game in the second segment of today's show, but I do want to discuss Mark Lerner and Juan Soto. If you didn't see, check over on my Twitter at RyanClary11. You'll probably see a lot of others as well. Talk Nats reposted it as well. You can check his account about that tweet as well. Mark Lerner, while the media was there on the field, it was a swamped house for Dylan Crews' debut, and as well as the Yankees and Juan Soto coming back to DC. There were a ton of storylines for yesterday's game. But I think one of the most slept on storylines was the way that Mark Lerner and Juan Soto kind of shared a little conversation there on the side field. I'm not here to say that that is them discussing a future, because let's be honest, Juan Soto does not have any ill will toward this organization. He understands baseball. He's not a diva. He knew the business side of things, and it was a harsh reality for him as he was pretty upset when the Nationals traded him, but he's not upset with the organization. He just probably thought he would be a Nat for life. But Juan Soto sits there yesterday talking with Mark Lerner. I get that picture, and I'm like, oh boy. I just wonder what they could be talking about. I don't think they were talking about free agency. I think that's ridiculous. I think if people were actually thinking that, Mark Lerner is just going to be like, hey, what's the price tag? You ain't doing that. Juan Soto's got an agent, and the Lerners, they know the price tag. It's going to be a blank check, probably over $600 million. That's what I would pay for Juan Soto. But I did see some people saying out there, well, I would not pay for Juan Soto at this point. We need more pieces. And you're right. But if you add a Juan Soto into this lineup, let's just say that you did. Someone with an OPS above 1,000, someone who's going to hit 35, 40 home runs for your team, someone who will drive in 120, 130 runs per season in his mid-20s, being one of the better hitters in all of baseball. If you add that into your lineup right here today, you're talking about a potential kind of wild card team here, in my opinion. I think we are a Juan Soto away, and a lot of teams could say this, by the way, but we are a Juan Soto away from being a contender. That's truly what I believe. And of course, you need starting pitching as well. Of course, you need bullpen help. And yeah, you need Brady House to come up and pan out in the majors. Of course, all those things need to happen. But you really aren't that far off. And I think that was really kind of one of my main takeaways. Seeing Juan Soto and envisioning him in this Nationals lineup, roaming the outfield with Dylan Crews and James Wood, and the cherry on top being Juan Soto, you can't tell me that's not a deadly, lethal outfield. But ultimately, I don't think that's going to happen. But it was cool to kind of see them chat it up because the Lerners and Soto and Scott Boras, his agent, they all have good relationships. So it was really cool to see that. But ultimately, Dylan Cruz's debut, underwhelming. We'll see what he can do tonight against Gerrit Cole. Good luck, Dylan. And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. Now let's get into some Nationals-Yankees takeaways. I think there are some things behind the scenes that some people should know about. And I think one thing in particular is kind of being really slept on behind the scenes here. So we'll get into that. But before that, let me tell you guys about some of our very good friends over at FanDuel. And of course, you've all heard us talk about FanDuel before, which is America's #1 sportsbook. Well, we have something a little different for you now through September 22nd. All FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out of market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel any time. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to download America's #1 sportsbook. Again, visit FanDuel.com/lockedon, and you can get $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV now through September 22nd. Again, just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. Now we get back into it with some Nationals-Yankees takeaways, as there are a lot of different takeaways we can get into. But my #1 takeaway is not a Nationals one. Aaron Judge is the best player in baseball. Point blank. Sitting here today, if Shohei Ohtani was pitching, I'd probably say Shohei Ohtani. Besides that point, though, Aaron Judge is the best baseball player on this planet. You saw him making the web gem plays yesterday. The way he roamed center field, I don't even want to talk about his hitting at this point. 51 home runs on August 26th. He hit his 51st and his 50th just 2 days ago. Aaron Judge defensively alone is unbelievable. Seeing him roam the outfield, as big as he is, both height and width, it is absurd to see in person. We talk about how good and how big James Wood is. James Wood is his height, but they are certainly not the same stature. Aaron Judge is a different animal. Seeing him live in person yesterday, I think, was pretty damn cool. And as soon as he comes up to the plate, there is a buzz in the crowd that you would not believe. And yes, of course, it was a lot of Yankees fans there yesterday. But even then, as Nationals fans, you don't get to see Aaron Judge every year. Nationals fans, they were locked in to see Judge and hopefully see him hit home run number 52. Well, I can tell you tonight, if you have tickets to tonight's game, you're going to see that. I guarantee it right now. So that is my #1 takeaway. My #2 takeaway, we kind of got into this in the first segment as well from this Nationals-Yankees series. Dylan Cruz just seemed overwhelmed. He just did. The crowd was really into it when he was at the plate. But also, I do think he does settle in after this Yankees series. I didn't really think of this before, but playing against the Yankees with a team that is out of contention, talking about the Nats, that is a pretty overwhelming experience. Talking about the crowd first and foremost, the crowd was mostly Yankees fans yesterday, if we're just being honest. That is unfortunate, but that's just what the case is. And it's not them taking over Nationals Park for Dylan Cruz Day. The Yankees fans had these tickets probably months in advance. If you're in the DC area and you're a Yankees fan, you don't get to see them all that often. You get to travel up to Baltimore, but still, if you are in the DC area, they don't come to Nationals Park every year. So you're going to buy a ton of tickets and get to see them, and you get to see Aaron Judge right here live in person. So you got to see that yesterday. I just thought Dylan Cruz seemed overwhelmed with it. I do think after this Yankee series, with all the national spotlight kind of taken away from it, what Aaron Judge is doing, Juan Soto returning, I think that is when Dylan Cruz will settle in. But one thing is for sure, he just looks overwhelmed. And I do think it's part of that Yankees kind of factor. The spotlight, the national headlines, all the different things that comes with playing against the Yankees, filled with Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, and tonight you go up against Gerrit Cole, the reigning AL Cy Young winner. Good luck. That is a very tough thing to play in front of, especially with the rowdy, raucous crowd with the New York Yankees in town. So that is one of my takeaways. One of my other big takeaways that I don't think a lot of people will understand. So if you don't know, I work for 106.7 The Fan. That is the home station for the Washington Nationals. I produce for Grant and Danny. Luckily, yesterday we were on the field for BP. We got to do the show live from the field. And with that, I kind of have to pull players aside and say, hey, like, would you want to hop on with Grant and Danny? So I won't get into like all the interactions here, but one I thought was really cool. CJ Abrams making his way from batting practice, about to head back into the clubhouse. I grab him like, hey, CJ, would you be able to hop on with Grant and Danny real quick? As he's making his way into the clubhouse, he goes, sure, of course. Shakes my hand, does what he has to do. Immediately is asked. And this is not just once, by the way. This also happened with James Wood back in the day, when he made his debut just over a month ago. CJ Abrams is one of your team leaders at this point. The leadership role that he has taken to be a kind of shoulder to lean on for younger players like James Wood, and now like Dylan Cruz as well. You see CJ Abrams talking to these guys behind the scenes. You see CJ Abrams kind of taking that leadership role in the clubhouse, and as well as doing the things that maybe others won't. CJ Abrams is a leader in this ball club. And that is a huge factor, in my opinion, for kind of what his value is for this team. And also, by the way, selfishly speaking, CJ Abrams is in a massive slump right now. At least for his standards. He's got like a 611 OPS since the beginning of August. It has not been a good month for him. And we all kind of know CJ Abrams is hot and cold, so I'm sure he'll get hot here soon. But he is taking on this leadership role, being asked about Dylan Cruz, how he's handling it, how he would handle the pressure that comes with being Dylan Cruz going up against the Yankees. Same thing for James Wood. The leadership skills from CJ Abrams so far this season, I think, has been on display, but maybe not for the public eye. I think it's been a really cool step up for him. I think it's been something that you can't really just click right away with, because CJ was that young guy with a lot of expectations, with the national spotlight on him, even just earlier on this season. He has been tinkered with in the lineup over the years, but he is your leadoff guy. He is the guy that you want at the plate in a big situation at this point. And CJ Abrams taking that leadership role should never go unnoticed. And I do think it kind of does at this point. But I can assure you of this. Behind the scenes, he is establishing himself as a leader in that clubhouse, and that is a big deal, in my opinion. So that was one thing I thought was really cool, but also there's one more. And that is Juan Soto. He's just not going to come back. You saw it from this morning, Jeff Passan. The Mets and the Yankees are the likely suitors for him to get over $500 million. Well, I'm here to tell you, I think it's going to be more than $500 million. I think it could even be $600 million. And I think, unfortunately, it's probably going to be Steve Cohen with the New York Mets. But also kind of in yesterday's environment, this is not a knock on Nationals fans, by the way. We're just not a big market like the Yankees. We don't have the history of them. We all know how many championships they've won, whatever. Seeing and playing in front of that fan base every single day, it's different. It does feel different. I do understand that point of it. Now, yes, he does want to win, but I hate to say it, the Yankees are likelier to win than us and the New York Mets. And as well as the Blue Jays, the Giants, the Dodgers, even at this point, they are the team to go to right now, in my opinion. with what Aaron Judge does, it's unfathomable. Having that lineup go Soto and then Judge, or Judge then Soto, whichever way it is, that's a pretty special lineup, whichever way you spin it. That is going to be a tough place to leave if I'm Juan Soto. So that is one of my other takeaways, as well, as we kind of talked about here. But we unfortunately do play the Yankees tonight. I say unfortunately because he's coming off his 100th win. He had a great game last week, which, oh my, Patrick Corbin plays the New York Yankees tonight. Oh my God. I'm out of breath thinking about it. We will preview that. Reluctantly, good luck, Patrick. Oh my God. Aaron Judge. Oh my God. We'll discuss that and preview that game. As you can tell by enthusiasm, Patrick Corbin on the bump tonight, it's going to be an exciting one. We'll discuss that after we tell you guys about our friends over at SupplyHouse. And of course, get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades, SupplyHouse.com. SupplyHouse.com is a reliable way to order plumbing, h-vac, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business, and talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trade Master program. Every Trade Master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at SupplyHouse.com/TM and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at SupplyHouse.com. Thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. And of course, check us out over on YouTube. Just search Locked On Nationals. That is where you'll find us, and hit that subscriber button. Drop a comment as well in the comment section. That is where you'll find us. But I'm going to take a seat. I'm going to think about this for a second, and then we're going to move on. If you're watching over on YouTube, you'll see me kind of lean back right now. Patrick Corbin goes up against the Yankees tonight. Oh my God. I'm so scared. I just am. You saw what they did last night against Mitchell Parker, who really hasn't been the same in the second half of the season, what he was in the first half, dominating teams like the Astros, the Dodgers, all the better teams in all of baseball. But this is a different animal. Patrick Corbin, after he is coming off against a very good start against the Colorado Rockies last week, I'm scared. This could be a complete, utter, you-know-what show. I'm predicting it right now. 4 home runs off Patrick Corbin. Judge may have 1. Judge will definitely have 1. I'm going to place that bet over on FanDuel. I can tell you that much. Number 2 could come from someone like Anthony Volpe. Number 3, Juan Soto. He knows Patrick Corbin real well. The storyline is there for Juan Soto to hit a home run tonight against his former teammate with Patrick Corbin. The storyline's already being set up. But I do know for a fact, I've seen the script, Judge is going to hit number 52 on the season tonight. That's just the way that it is. So that is kind of a scary thought to think of here. But you also, for the Nationals' sake, you're going up against Gerrit Cole. Now, if you're Dylan Cruz, maybe you like the spotlight here. Maybe you like going up against a former Cy Young pitcher. The reigning Cy Young pitcher, by the way. I think Gerrit Cole is still Gerrit Cole, but coming off of earlier on in the season when he was kind of shut down with some arm injuries, I think Gerrit Cole is still going to kind of go out there, take the ball, and go 6 to 7 innings. Now, the good thing about this is that Dylan Cruz does hit righties a lot better than he does hit lefties. So we'll see if that's kind of a factor in this game ultimately. But I'm looking at this, and this is a very tough outing here for Dylan Cruz, for Patrick Corbin, and as well as the Nationals offense. This game kind of has disaster written all over it. So we'll see what the Nationals can do. Let's see if they can make chicken salad out of chicken you know what. We will catch you guys on the flip side. Have a good one. Enjoy tonight's game. And if you're sitting out in left field tonight, good luck. Keep your head in a swivel. Patrick Corbin is on the bump against Aaron Judge. Oh my God. Good luck.